screen right now and you see the Boy Meets World paper airplane logo, that is what you're going to see at the 22-second mark. That's where you're going to want to start when it comes time to press play. So as we get ready to watch the episode ourselves, go ahead and do that right now so that we can all press play together. And I just want to ask you guys, Trina, Danielle, Will, and Ryder, what do you remember most about filming this episode? If you had to just kind of sum it up really quickly.
Nothing.
Ooh.
Take it, Ryder.
No idea.
Ryder, you remember nothing of me.
No, you know what's funny is that when you guys first, like, we talked about doing an episode and we talked about this episode, I had no recollection, but I don't remember. The only Thanksgiving episode I remember is there was one where we went to Sean's trailer park for Thanksgiving. Do you guys remember that one? That's the only Thanksgiving I didn't. But then I thought, oh, this is the episode that where Trina. This is the episode that follows the purse episode. So this is really your introduction to the show. Okay. And I remember that. Like, I think I'm going to remember more than I thought. I just didn't remember that it was also a Thanksgiving episode. So but honestly, but I remember, I mean, obviously I remember Trina coming on the show and it was such a big deal. It was like Sean finally had a relationship and getting to know Trina. Like, this was only week 2 of working with her. So like, I have memories of behind the scenes of that, but I have no idea what's actually going on the episode.
And we want to hear all those memories, especially in the Q&A afterwards. Danielle, do you remember anything specific?
No, I'm terrible at remembering the episodes. Like, I don't remember a lot of the episodes, and I think it's just because I don't know, being a high school student and working.
So many.
There's a lot of them, but also, like, I remember the purse episode so well. Like, I remember filming the purse episode and all that, but I don't remember then what the second half of the purse episode is. So I'm like Ryder. I'll probably know more than I think I do when I start seeing it. But
Will, any recollection?
No, and okay. I'm really good at remembering episodes usually, and I have no recollection of this whatsoever. So I mean, you have to keep in mind, we would watch these once on Friday night when they aired. There wasn't YouTube or any. I mean, it came on once. Oh yeah, see, we did.
I watched all of the first season because I was like still young and like excited. And then we watched as a family the first airing of the first episode of the second season. And I was so mortified by like how I looked, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, I can't do this ever again. So I never watched the show from that point on.
Oh my gosh. You looked great, by the way.
I think it was the episode where I had fake sideburns. Do you remember this? And like, and I just remember getting so insecure, and I was like, no, this is going to make me too self-conscious. I need to stop watching this. Otherwise I'm going to be, that's what rehearsals are for. So I don't have to worry about what I look like or,
Well, now enough time has passed. I think you'll be able to enjoy it. And I kind of I'm really excited to hear after, so much time, your reactions, especially since, it's going to be fresh and new. It's almost as if you're seeing it for the first time, except you're in it. So I love that.
Trina, do you remember this episode well, since it was all about you?
I do remember being very nervous, but I remember the purse episode a little bit better, and I get them confused between the two. But I know once I see what it is, I'll remember probably every line of it, because I remember a lot of the episodes, especially every one that I was in. So,
and I love that we just had a comment from Mary flash up, and she said, "I watched it once a year." I love that. It is a holiday episode. Okay,
Sweet.
So if you are at home, this is your last warning to queue up your device. It is going to be at the 22-second mark, and yes, there we go. Season 5, episode 8, Chasing Angela on Disney Plus. You guys, I have so many questions, but I think I will be saving them for the Q&A afterwards. And I encourage everyone out there watching to weigh in the group chat, and we'll be, answering as many questions as we can after. You're ready, Francisco? I think we're ready too. Are you guys ready?
Let's
All right.
Let's do it.
Understand how to size my shirts.
You were addressing yourself.
Large, but in real life too, I did not know my size. Like, I'm a small. I wear a small shirt. Men's small. I always wear. Oh, getting dramatic, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chubbies.
Chubbies. I think Chubbies is my favorite set to work in.
I remember her.
Oh, I
Now I
remember him.
Yeah.
You know what I remember him from? He was in LA Confidential, and he was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty
that's
sure
right.
that's the actor. He was incredible in LA Confidential. Yeah.
Which would have been right around the same time, right?
Yeah. Did we have Chubbies in like seasons 6 and 7? We didn't, right? When we went to
No.
college,
No,
Chubbies went away,
this was
right?
this was
They
kind of
should
it.
have had Chubbies.
Oh. Oh, so Matt was already on the show, which started
Yeah.
with season 5.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Yeah,
the leather
yeah.
jacket. Also huge on me in retrospect.
That's the style that's back in now. Everything should be big
It
now.
is.
I'm glad. I like big clothes.
What's wrong with my voice?
I know, but you're obviously drinking the same stuff as Rob Lowe in that you don't age ever.
Yeah. Totally.
Have there been any jokes yet?
No.
Well, not
It's
this.
like
Is this
it's
like a
all
previous
drama.
This is a very serious.
No, we're in the episode.
This
now.
is the episode. This isn't previously. There's Trina.
I was so nervous. Oh my gosh.
You don't age either.
I was gonna bring all those things in the purse too, but
Aw.
Look, there's a phone booth behind everybody. So if everybody doesn't know what that is, that's a booth with a telephone in it.
hello.
Do you guys remember Michael
Alan
Jacobs
Ryerson.
freaking out about the comic books that are on display back there? He lost
No.
it during one run through. He's like, "Those comic books are outdated.
Oh,
I need to
geez.
make sure that the comic books are always up to date." And so from that point on, poor Mark Papson, our prop guy, had to constantly replace the comic books because he was convinced the kids at home would be able to like squint, see through the horrible video, and like know that it was an outdated X-Men or whatever.
You mentioned Mark Papson, our prop guy. Literally next to the computer, I still have my Dr. Papson
Oh yeah.
because we couldn't have actual products. So
I remember Michael being obsessed with the things that were on the wall in the school too. The ads, like
Yes.
like he was big on
Mhm.
making sure they looked real.
I love. Wasn't that custodian also at one time a classroom? It was a
Oh, yeah.
custodian place. It was
Yeah.
There were
a
a couple
classroom.
doors
It
that
was-
just kept changing.
Yeah,
It changed every episode.
yeah.
So
I
Trina,
was
is
so
this?
nervous. Oh
I
my
had just we just realized.
we always went on the other side.
Was that your necklace or was that wardrobe?
My
No
necklace.
way.
I wore.
It was
No,
yours?
you had that
Yeah.
necklace.
Yeah, I wore the same necklace for a long time, and then that's a Until There's a Cure, which was an AIDS organization. I wore that bracelet for a long time,
Really?
probably 5 years. Yeah, the whole idea was like you wear the bracelet until there's a cure.
Right.
But what about the necklace? That looks kind of hip hop on you.
I have no idea where that came from, but I had a beaded necklace from my very first girlfriend for like the first 2 or 3 seasons.
Oh.
And then I don't know where I do remember that silver necklace. I know it was mine personally. I have no idea where it came from.
Yeah, I had a yin yang ring I wore on my thumb for years that I refused to take off.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing that ring.
We
on
all
your thumb.
had those weird
Yeah.
things we wore every time. Oh, okay.
Look
So
at
Jack
you.
and Eric are
Yeah.
Jack and Eric are roommates
Oh.
here.
There's a B storyline. What was going on? I have no idea. Probably never watched any of this.
This is when we never saw each other, Will.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. So Trina and I were on 2 different television programs.
Totally.
Oh, so funny. I had lunch with Matt last week.
Oh,
He's doing really well.
I want to talk to him.
Oh, there's our fake generic cereal.
Oh man,
It's all-
having
it's-
to eat
it's
in the
terrible.
scene is the worst.
I
I
know.
always had to eat on this show.
Yep. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Now that
What?
that set was never. I mean, that was the only time that we used this set.
Yeah, never happened again.
Although, was this the same place where we did our radio show when Ben and I did our radio show? Oh my god!
No, wasn't that a really tiny closet? That was
yeah,
like
yeah, that
really
was a
tiny.
much smaller closet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually remember a joke from this. I can't believe I'm remembering this joke.
What is it? What is it?
Isn't it like his grandma? He goes like Nana Boo Boo or something like your his grandmother's name is in the book or something like that. It's
that makes sense.
Something weird like that. A lot of sweaters, shirtless things.
Yeah.
Oh, I think okay, maybe not. Oh, gobble gobble, block of ice.
What? There was a real block of ice on set. No recollection of this.
He remembered his
I
line.
just remember my lines.
I'm not surprised.
That's the weird thing is remembering your lines is bizarre. Oh, it has a bone in it. Should this have bones in it? That's right. Oh my god.
You're amazing, dude. I can't remember anything.
Yeah. Oh.
That was good how you pulled that out.
You are
though.
so funny, dude.
That's great. I'm like having agita. Like I remember my lines, but I don't remember them enough to shoot it again. So that's freaking me out.
Yeah, we're gonna have nightmares tonight about being backstage.
The actor nightmares.
Oh, Russ.
Rusty. He's a good-looking dude, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. All you guys are hot.
That apartment set was repurposed like 15 different times.
My favorite memory of that set is when we did the witch episode where I was like a human sacrifice.
Oh, with Candace Cameron Bure.
Yeah.
That was another one of our bizarre, almost not as crazy as the Halloween Scream episode, but similar.
But
this was also this was Turner's apartment. This was our apartment. Oh, the women lived in the apartment at one time, so we did the big wrestling scene. Like everybody lived there.
Yeah, I loved that episode.
On tape. So they were kind of going with the times,
That was
like,
so
yeah.
90s.
kind of cliche, but whatever.
Really ages the show.
Yeah,
I
right?
know.
Come on.
Oh.
Oh.
Food was never hot. Remember, it's like the fries were cold.
Oh,
and
yeah, the
burgers
worst.
was cold, and
Those fries were awful.
always
They're
green
nasty.
beans. Remember, there was green beans all the time that were like awful. Yeah.
Will, I remember you saying, like, while the show was still on, you're like, why don't we start a Chubbies franchise?
We should have.
Would have been a great idea. Like,
We
we should have just
should've.
done it. There could be Chubbies all over the world
Everywhere.
right now. Although you said that we've had multiple actors play Chubby himself.
Yeah, I think we had Chubby.
There was a Chubby?
We had a couple.
I don't remember this either.
There was a couple. I think John Capados was one, and somebody. We had a few Chubbies, if memory serves.
Oh, wow. I like that top I have on. I want
I
it.
know, it's so cute.
Layers too on the show. Lots of layers.
That was the 90s, though.
It was.
Wow,
Oh.
Sean just came on real strong.
I know. Sean, like, take it down a notch, dude.
I mean, she said sometimes a seashell is just a seashell, and you were like, I want to be with you more than anyone in the world.
I hold on.
Oh, I want to move your hair out of your face.
Oh my god.
There, good.
And he did it.
Hey, there it is. My aunt. There it is. Okay. I knew it was somebody like that. There's the hair pullback rider.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a constant. You know, it's come back in my life just recently because now I have the 90s hair back.
I get comments on it on social media.
I got like after the show, I always just kept my hair short so I didn't do it because I realized it was such a tick.
Oh, that's right. It's Pretty Babies because this must have been when Swingers was big. Whatever was big would like go into the show, like the hot stuff dance or whatever. So obviously one of the writers just saw Swingers and put in Babies. In this version,
everyone wanted what you guys had, though. All of America.
I'm gonna come on even stronger.
Oh yeah, you said no,
yeah.
so
right in front of my date and everything.
Yeah. You got that intense look on your face too, like you ain't taking no for an answer. That's creepy.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
He's great.
Just throw me over.
You can hear the leather jacket.
I can hear your leather jacket.
You can hear
sound.
You know, the sound department was like, Jesus, is he wearing the jacket again? Ted, don't go.
Oh, the look.
The look. That was the.
I'm thinking about
the lesson is, if a woman tells you she's not interested, double down.
Yeah, it means nothing.
Oh, here's one for all the fans. Ben right now is standing right next to the gum drawer.
Yes.
So the drawer right next to him was filled with candy and gum all the time. Yeah.
Your suit is also 2 sizes too big, Ryder.
It probably was one of the first times I'd ever worn a suit in my life. Oh, God.
Yep, those drawers.
I didn't know my waist size, and I didn't know my shirt size until I was in my 20s.
Yeah, exactly. Well, none of us did because other people bought our clothes. It's really scary, but that's
when I bought my own clothes, I would buy like 34 to 36 waists, so they would sag, and then I would buy like a giant, large shirt.
Yeah.
Until I got to college and I was in my 20s. Oh, maybe I should, Where was this?
He's a great actor. He plays Babu. He played Babu Bhatt on Seinfeld. And he and I do voiceover all the time.
Really?
Brian George, great guy. Yeah.
I just binge watched Seinfeld.
We actually got interviewed by Entertainment Tonight while we were here, Trina. You and I.
Oh, that's right. I remember
There's a clip from it. Yeah, there's a clip. And it was so funny because I recently saw it. My parents had a collection of old home videos and it had that clip on it. And it was from when we were shooting this. So we were already getting media attention because it was about being an interracial relationship. So we were already like sort of getting buzz.
Yeah. They're black and white and kissing.
Can you believe it?
Can anybody name the first interracial kiss ever on TV?
I think it was Diane Carroll, Julia. But it has to be something before that.
Kurt and Uhura on Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
That was after. Yeah, that was probably before that, yeah.
67, I want to say. I could be wrong. I'm sure I'm wrong, but it's. Do we know what year in high school you guys are supposed to be in now? Is this junior year, senior year? Do we know?
I think it's senior year. Because we graduated the first year.
This would have been the end of season 5 is when we had the marriage proposal graduation. And then season 6 would have been our first year of college. Yeah.
College, that's right.
So this was the season of the long walk to Pittsburgh, right? That would have been the Christmas episode a couple weeks later. Right.
That was the Olivia Hussey episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So who were Topanga's parents at this point?
I think
it was Michael McKean and Annette O'Toole.
Yeah,
they had already done it.
Yeah. Olivia Hussey played your British aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, they changed around your family.
Over and over again. Yeah, over and over again. Oh, now you're in love. Because ketchup's weird?
You were so good at that, Danielle.
Thank you.
So what we should do is open up a Chubbies and then have like a secret speakeasy that's Borelli's in the back.
Great idea.
Yes.
I love it.
Bang.
Guys,
Seriously, though.
Okay, just real quick question. How is this a Thanksgiving episode?
the B story.
The B story is you guys.
Oh, yeah.
prepared
You
for the-
ate the
I think
bonus pie.
it's going to end up
Thanksgiving, like
with
Die
the
Hard
whole
is
Thanksgiving.
Christmas. Okay, I get it.
Do we end up kissing on this table?
Yeah.
Does he knock things off at the table and kiss me on the table?
Probably.
Why not?
If not, you were thinking about it back then.
Oh, the extra behind is just.
There it is.
Danielle like moved to because she knew she was gonna get
Wow.
on the
I
table.
knew it.
That's so
Yeah.
cute.
Oh, geez.
Is this our first kiss?
Oh, I just got chills.
Oh, yeah.
Aww. And
then-
there it was.
Yeah.
Making out
and the
for
freeze. I love the freeze.
Oh, that was so
Wow.
sweet.
So we never even got the. Oh, here we go.
Oh, wait. Tag.
So strange. I look like I'm wearing a wig. Don't
Your
I?
hair's just done very well.
Weird.
So does Matt.
Yeah. That's another one who hasn't aged. Hey, one of our little sisters. That was Lindsay Ridgway, by the way. She's wonderful. Oh, hey, Mr. Feeney's joined us.
He's so holiday friendly.
Was that his first appearance this episode? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Ray Colcord. Rest in peace.
What the hell am I wearing?
So cute. It's really cute.
Now we got to thank everybody.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Now we're
everybody.
into the next episode. Let's binge it.
Come on,
guys-
keep it going.
I know.
That was so much fun. I loved listening to you guys. I mean, it was really like watching you relive it. Trina and Ryder, I have to start by asking you guys, was that either of your first on-screen kisses, like that moment?
Oh no, God,
That was
I-
Ryder's first kiss.
No,
first
Ryder
episode. It's his
kissed
first kiss
love.
that day.
Yeah, it was
It
like
works for me though.
Yeah,
I remember anything
Trina,
I
you
worked
looked a
on where
little
I
bit
kissed.
like
really. Trina, is that true? Wow.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
never
no-
kissed anybody on TV except for you.
They were making me make out with people all the time on Boy Meets World. Like in
Yeah.
retrospect, it actually kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. Like I think it was a little gross. Like
Yeah.
you don't watch kids shows, teen shows now where people are just like naked. Oh, I mean, I guess on like edgier, older shows, but not like mainstream children's television. They don't have like
Yeah.
teenagers
Yeah,
making
we,
out.
We were
Every
really
week.
making out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single week we were making out with a different girl. It's
I remember
kind
my
of
first
uncomfortable.
on-screen kiss on Boy Meets World was with a background actress who they introduced me to right before we shot it. It was literally like, this is so-and-so. She's going to be kissing you. And I remember being so like, oh, okay. and it was fine. But like, and then I got super used to it because every episode it would be like making out. Like even in this one, in the beginning, I'm making out with that actress. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah,
Well, there
I
was
have a good therapist for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was definitely something special about that moment.
Yep.
Okay, to get to a couple, we have a lot of people weighing in on the chat, guys. So we'll do our best to touch
Wow.
on a little bit of everything. But I think one of the things that will resonate with a lot of people watching, Jenny says, this show, Boy Meets World, helped me through some of the hardest times growing up. What would be your one piece of advice to each of your own characters growing up? Or if you don't want to extrapolate it that deeply, you could say, to someone who's younger in your real life. It's tough growing up, and it's changed a lot over the decades. But do you guys have any good advice for either your younger selves or young ones now?
So much advice. I don't know. Anybody have anything? I'll
Well,
go.
I'll go. I'll say that my younger self, I would have said to just be a little bit more at ease at things and don't make it so big in your head. That would be and my older self, I'm feeling great, so I don't know. But yeah,
I think I would say to my younger self, and also a little bit to Topanga as well, that like, I felt like I needed to have a plan and that I needed to follow that plan like really to a T in order to be successful, whatever successful meant, whether it was in my personal life or my professional life. And when I look back on what my plans were at that age, they were all awful plans. And had any of them gone the way I wanted them to, they would have been like my life would be catastrophic. And so I think I would like kind of to piggyback on what Trina was saying, I think I would tell myself to like enjoy the natural flow of life without trying to control everything so much. I would also tell my adult self that right now.
Yeah, I'm writing that down in my journal.
Yeah, put that down. I think mine would be when you are high school age, especially, everything that's happening in your life, you are convinced is earth-shattering. Exactly. It is all that matters in your life. And the thing I would tell myself, I go back and say, the second you graduate, none of this matters. I mean, none of it really matters when you're there, but all the stuff that you think is so this person likes me or doesn't like me, or this person said something about me or didn't say something, or I feel this way, or I look this way. None of that means anything the second you walk out of those doors. So it seems earth shattering and the end of your life, but it means nothing. And then the thing I would tell myself, which I tell myself all the time, is there's a very big difference between childish and childlike, and don't ever lose the childlike part. So.
Yes.
I love that. That's great.
You know what's funny about like, because I basically have the same advice. Like if I could go back to Sean, I'd be like, chill out, dude. Not that big of a deal. But but the irony there is that Boy Meets World as a show is all about how important your adolescence is. It's all about sort of, and I think that's part of the reason that it's resonated with people is that it sort of shines a bright light on your high school relationships and friendships and the way you feel about your parents. And I think that's why people responded to it. But as a TV show versus life strategy, there's a difference there. And I would make that distinction. But I think part of the reason that Boy Meets World has survived and continues to inspire people is in part because it says like, hey, your teacher matters, your friends matter, your first girlfriend, first boyfriend matter, like that. And I do think that there's that message is like cool, especially at the time that it was coming, because really like there, besides Wonder Years, obviously, like there hadn't been that many shows like really focusing on children the same way, teenagers. So yeah, I appreciate that.
I mean, this show, go ahead, Will.
Well, no, I was just going to say there's something that's very interesting about, I mean, when you watch Boy Meets World, there's no social media on Boy Meets World. There's no cell phones. There's no anything, but some of the problems still resonate with people because they're problems that are always going to exist for people that age. So, I mean, are the problems different now? Absolutely. Are there compounded problems now? Absolutely. But, I think no matter what the changes that people go through, 12 is kind of 12, 13 is kind of 13, and everybody has some similarities with their problems that they can always relate to when they watch Boy Meets World. I mean, we were talking beforehand about how with Girl Meets World being out and with Disney Plus, I mean, there's a whole new generation of people that are 14, 15, 16 years old, even younger, that have started to watch the show and can still relate to something that was the early 90s. So it's cool that it still matters.
I love it. I think you guys wrapped it up perfectly. I mean, the show was about relationships, and that makes it evergreen because, learning those lessons in your early adolescence and as you go through the teen years, they're invaluable. And speaking of relationships, I have a question for you, Will and Ryder, from Lisa Perry. Is it true that you two couldn't do too many scenes together because you laughed too much?
Yep. yeah, that's true.
When was this rule made? What season?
Near the end. And we realized we had never worked together, so we actively requested it, and then we completely messed it up.
You didn't realize it wasn't going to work. We just knew, Ryder said this before, we knew each other as actors and as people too well, so we knew which buttons to push, when one of us was going to break. Like, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed the work together. So it didn't always translate.
Will is the funniest human being in the world, and I am the most, like, you just know when I'm about to laugh and I'm trying to hold it in. Like, everybody knows that, and like on our set, I had so many clear tells. Like, my big one was just keeping my mouth open, and then we could start. I'd be like, "What?" Try and stay in a scene, and it would become so obvious to everybody that I was about to break, and I was trying, and so the combination of me and Will, it was horrible.
It didn't work.
Fun. But we did one scene, and I think it got cut in half, and then it did end up in the show, and
they were like, "No more."
I'm gonna try to find that scene.
They're also, Eric and Sean are just such different character. I mean, it's getting them together was a little, they were trying to force kind of the characters together, but it was some of my favorite scenes that I do remember were when we were all older, 6 and 7 seasons. We were at the in the college kind of common room, I guess it would be called. Yeah. And we were all like hanging out, sitting on the couches, drinking coffee, like a young friends kind of show. Those to me were some of my favorite, because that's where we were like just throwing one-liners at each other. And it felt so like we watched this episode here, and it's a great episode, and I'm so glad we got to do it. But that is 2 different television shows mashed together. It was like, there's the Corey, Sean, Angela, Topanga every week. And then they would and now what are Jack and Eric and Rachel doing? And so when they later figured that out, season 6 and 7, when we were all together, that's when I felt like all of us were really like one show, one cast. It was cool.
Yeah. And piggybacking on sort of like the friendliness and the joking, watching this episode for the first time, it stuck out to me how much physical comedy there is in the show. I mean, Danielle, when you kind of growl in the waiter's face, Will, when you bite the pie and you have a bone come, I mean, that was like flawless, by the way. Ryder, when you're banging your head against the lockers. I mean, Trina, I don't know if you had one.
I never had physical comedy.
You were kind of like you were a little nervous in this episode, but it was early for you.
Yeah.
Did you guys have the opportunity as young actors to sort of suggest physical comedy moments and like suggest little, jokes and such?
Will is the king of physical comedy. Like,
Will can do anything.
Will can do anything. Like, remember that episode where you're playing pool and you hit all the pool balls in? You did that on one take.
Yeah, I had like held the record for a little while of like most shots in a whatever the ever was. Yeah, it was cool.
No, Will can get into a zone and do anything. Like, they would write these crazy scenes where you're like, well, all right, I don't know how this is going to happen, but Will would pull it off. Yeah. It's funny, like we forget how much multi-camera sitcom is very theatrical. It's outdated now in so many ways, but like what we were doing was a live stage play every week in front of an audience, and and I think a part of that is this slightly high wire act of physical comedy or beats, even if it's just one physical beat. And there would always be a moment where we'd have to like trust each other, like Ben and I really came to trust each other physically, because we had to like fight episodes. We would always be in these positions where like, you're throwing around or you're doing something kind of scary, and like, but as far as like mastering actual physical comedy, Will was amazing.
Yeah. Well, I also felt like I had to, because I was always jealous of you guys, because you guys were like acting. You guys had like a show, but that's you You had
Drama.
characters and you were acting and had the drama. And I remember going to Michael where it was like, it's like, I feel like you're having this amazing show going on, and Danielle gets to act, and Ben gets to act, and Trina gets to act, and Ryder gets to act, and they're like really showing their chops. And then you're cutting to me and I'm like in a couch or something. And Michael's like, yeah. You're great at it though. And it was just kind of like, okay. So I was like, I always wanted to be doing more what you guys were doing, but they kind of kept us in our lanes. And then when they did cross over with stuff like, when Eric Goes to Hollywood and you guys got to play like ridiculously crazy characters, I always thought that was some of my favorite when we were kind of like totally out of our comfort zones as actors. Yeah. It was great. Yeah. So I always love that.
I love that. Liana, I hope I'm saying your name right, asks if you guys have a specific favorite behind the scene memory from this episode in particular. And Trina, you said you were nervous. You were saying that while we were watching. I was so nervous.
I was very nervous. I was always on the phones with my cousins, and they were telling me this and that, and it was just. I was really, really like petrified. Actually, I'd been in one episode before that one where I just sat in the back of the class. It was called the Real World episode, and they just pointed at me for 2 seconds, and I guess that was kind of like a little mini introduction to me. But I'm looking at it again. I remember that purse, and I remember the clothes well, and the clothing experience. I guess that's just something I would remember. But I love that last scene though. That is just, except for the green dress. I love that. I love that last scene in there. It's just so tender, and it just reminds me of really what doing the show was about for me, because they did the physical commenting. I think I was more like on the tearjerker side of things,
And if you also sat her up, she would sit like this for the longest time. She'd just sit there. But anyway, my neighbors and in the backyard were like, I heard you got a dog. And I was like, yeah, let me climb up on my brick wall that separates the two of us. And I climbed up on the brick wall, and then coming down, I used the little gate between our places to step down, and it was unlatched, and it slipped out, and I fell on my elbow. And me, being the idiot that I am, was like, it's fine. It's not broken. It's a little tender, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And then the next day I went into work and I couldn't move my elbow at all. Like my elbow was frozen in this position. And then I was supposed to be doing the wrestling episode, and I just had, my elbow was like, But yeah, that's the only thing
I remember that.
Yeah. That was very awkward.
Is that the one where you grabbed me by the hair and dragged me across the thing? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That was funny.
For me, I honestly don't remember filming this episode at all. But I remember Trina's audition, which was that it was before the episode was written. It was the beginning of the season. And they brought me in and they said, we're thinking of giving Sean a real girlfriend, and we're going to make this happen. I remember being like so excited. And then
was it always going to be an African-American person, or was it?
They said we're either gonna she's either gonna be Black or Latin, and that was like always. But I didn't read with anybody else. You were the only person I read with, and they had us read a scene from an episode that I had already done the season before with Larissa Olenek, who I had done Les Rob with when I was 10, and then she had played my girlfriend on 2 episodes of Boy Meets World. And there's a scene where like I set out a dinner in the snow or something, and I remember thinking, because I love Larissa, and Larissa's such a good actor, I remember being like, oh, this is what they're using? Like there's no way this will be, good, or anybody else can do this. And then you and I just did that scene, and it was awesome. And I remember
we clicked right away.
Right away, and you walked out, and I was like, well, she's perfect. Like, well, this is happening, right? No.
And so history was made that day.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I mean, this episode in particular, like just it really does focus on those young love relationships. And, Danielle, obviously huge focus on your relationship in the show, and really unprecedented. Nothing like that had ever been done, from such a young age, true love. And I'm even watching you guys at the restaurant, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they are like such an old married couple. And you're like, oh, I have 50 more years till I should be eating here. But what sort of like pressure did you feel to accurately portray that sort of deep love at a young age?
My parents started dating when they were 15. And then they got married at 21. And, so in my head, like I kind of thought that was like way more common than it was. So I think I didn't really feel pressure because I didn't feel like, oh gosh, I don't want it to be like what real relationships are like. I want it to be this ideal. I thought, yeah, that's what you're hoping for. And like it happened for my parents, and Will's parents are still married. Ryder's parents are still married. My parents divorced after 30 years. So the long-term trajectory changed, but I didn't actually really feel pressure because I think it's kind of what I thought truthfully was more normal.
Mm-hmm.
Which is now, as an adult who didn't get married until her 30s and has been married twice, I realize like how
reality actually works.
Yeah, so
the chances of that are slim.
That's actually smart though. I mean, I was 40 when I got married. I mean, it's one of those things. The waiting is probably the better way to go. I mean,
and that's the thing, is that people always ask me and they tell me how much they look up to the Corey and Topanga relationship. And certainly if you are fortunate enough to find someone that you want to be with for the rest of your life at a young age, by all means, then congratulations to you. But that is not the case for the majority of people. And I don't mean to sound like a Debbie Downer about it, but like, don't go looking for Corey and Topanga. Go looking, truthfully, what you should be looking for in relationships is yourself. And every person you're in a relationship with will show you more about yourself until you get to a place where you truly know who you are, and then you'll find your person. So
that's really good advice. That's really good advice.
You need to make a meme about that, or like make that into a quote.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
I'm gonna put it on a pillow.
Nice. We'll hang it in our Chubbies restaurant.
Stop kidding. I'm gonna be on you about a Chubbies restaurant.
Chubbies restaurant would be awesome.
You know what we should do? We'll do a 90s night. We'll do a Chubbies pop-up somewhere. That's what we'll do.
That's a good idea.
Chubbies pop-up.
That's actually a great idea.
We should do it. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
We'll do a
burgers have to be cold. The fries like 2 days old.
Fries.
We serve Dr. Papson.
Like the food.
They dress like in your 90s. They dress like you're from the 90s.
I'll wear Jinkos. It'll be
nice.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect. Hoppin will have to sponsor that for us.
We have a question about the 90s from Jenny Hochberg. Says, what do you guys miss most about the 90s?
Ugh.
So much.
The way you said that.
You know what I had in the 90s?
I felt him though.
You know what I had in the 90s? I had a real a clarity, and maybe this is just youth, but I also think there was a cultural clarity that is way like, the 90s, it was still very much a monoculture. There was like everybody was watching the 3 networks.
Yeah.
Fox got added in there in somewhere in the 90s. And like everybody would be talking about the same album, the same TV show, the same movie. And I did well with that. Like I didn't agree with everybody's taste, but I always felt like the conversation felt shared in a way that it doesn't anymore. And now it feels very fractured, very split up, and very hard to like know, like even with all of you who I love and have known for so many years, like I don't feel like I can reference a book or a movie or a TV show and have any confidence that you will know what I'm talking about. Like we're all kind of in our own, and like hopefully we can keep having the conversation and like find those common bonds. But that's what I've been missing the most. Like when I think about there was a clarity there. There was a sense of like, oh, there's like mainstream culture and it's this big thing. I didn't like it a lot of the time. I fought against it, which also gave me strength and was a sort of clarity, right? I was like anti-mainstream. And that's just gone. Like that doesn't exist anymore. I miss that. And like with my son, it's so funny to be raising, he's turning 7 next month, and to be like, right. Like he can like anything and find a community for whatever it is, which is great in so many ways. But like, I miss this sort of like knowing like, oh, everybody's watching the same show on Friday nights like that. I think that was good. Oh, we lost Trina.
Did we lose Trina?
No.
You know what I miss from the 90s? Trina.
Yeah, I miss her too.
That's what I miss.
Well, she'll be back. Hopefully she'll sign back in.
She will, which will be good.
This is actually leading kind of nicely into the next question we have. Would you guys say that the friendships and the connections you made on the show have made an impact on the people that you've become now?
Nope.
Yeah, no, right?
No, I don't care about these people at all.
No.
No.
Oh man. I'm in a highly emotional time of life. I have an 11-week-old, so maybe this is partially the emotion of that, but like I can cry at the thought of how all of these people still impact my life on a regular basis. We all are still in touch. And even like Ryder, just hearing you mention like books and stuff, like the amount of times something will come up that, Ryder will say like, you know what, you need to read this book. And I do immediately know that, yes, I need to read that book. That book is going to help my life. And it does. Will and I live steps away from each other. And the amount of times that we have been through hardships over the last several years, and the amount of times that Will has reached out to me to say, I'm at Trader Joe's or I'm at the grocery store. Is there anything I can pick up for you? Like when my first son was in the NICU and he and his wife would go to the grocery store and they would drop off juice for me because I was needed to be drinking a ton of fluids and I never had anything that tasted good other than water, and he would bring me juice. And last year I went through a really hard time last year, and Trina was one of the first people that I told about it, and she like cried with me on the phone. And just these are relationships that no one truly, unless you've had relationships like this, where you're kind of thrown together, not by your own choosing, you're thrown together with a group of people and then been there through the roller coaster of life with each other, and truly been there, not been like flighty and coming and going, but like answer your phone and respond to text messages and really have shown up to the dinners and like have really been there for each other and have been for so many years. Like you can't even put into words what that relationship means to you. And that's what these people are to me.
I can't really. Yeah, I was going to say I can't add to that because it's.
Well, I will add. True. I will add that it's also it's not just it's not just the emotional familial friendship connection. I'm also like,
I need your help.
I'm also like arguing with you guys in my mind a lot. Like we began conversations when we were teenagers that were very profound, and like our set was like a hotbed of debate and political engagement and differences. Like we all came from different walks of life, different parts of the country, and I really cherish that confrontation with difference. And like I still feel like we're having those conversations. Like we are, at least, like whenever we get together, I feel like I'm becoming a better person and I'm challenging myself based on the things that we're saying to one another, and the fact that I'm stuck with you guys, which is so awesome. It's the best version of family in that it still is a choice. Like we really have no obligations. And the fact that we still talk every couple of weeks, or like Will and I are on the phone basically once a week, like that's crazy. Like, that's like that is, so anyway, you guys have made me better people for sure.
I agree. Oh, it's funny. I mean, what Ryder was saying about the conversation, we were at a convention in Salt Lake and we were there with Trina, and Ryder and I, like we always do, we're kind of going at it at a restaurant about whatever the topic du jour was. And there's Trina kind of looking back and forth because it's the first con she's done with us. And we looked at her and she's like, is this normal? We're like, oh yeah, we have, this is all the time. Like this is how we talk. And that you guys have helped to shape. I mean, again, I would be a completely different human being without all of you in my life. I mean, I am who I am because I've experienced all of you. So it's interesting. It's certainly interesting.
Yeah, you guys definitely shaped my life for sure.
Welcome back, Trina. I'm so
Trina's
happy.
back.
The second you disappeared,
sorry about that.
Totally on it. No, I'm so glad you're back. You didn't miss much, but a lot of love from your castmates. So
that's good. That's good.
So since this was a Thanksgiving special, and Thanksgiving, as I pointed out at the beginning of the episode, is next Thursday, I'm curious, do you guys have either a Thanksgiving tradition that you've established in your own life, or do you have a specific Thanksgiving dish that you're really known for cooking?
Well,
go ahead, Trina.
I make dump cake. You guys know what dump cake is? When you put the pie filling, then you put the cake mix, just straight cake mix on top of the pan of pie filling. Then you put pats of butter. And then you put it in the oven at about 375 for an hour, and it has this buttery cake crust over the thing. So that's usually my go-to thing. It's really easy.
Wait,
What kind of pie? What kind of pie filling?
Apple pie filling. Apple pie filling, yellow cake mix.
Oh,
and the
my
dry
God.
cake mix on top of it?
Yes, and then you put pats of butter. Every little part has to be covered over. Put pats of butter on top of the cake mix.
Oh my God.
And then the oven is what,
So
like
good.
375 ish?
375. Yeah, every year the
All right.
kids loved it. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I make a salad. So apparently people don't trust me to cook.
Oh no.
Yeah, I make a salad. And I guess our tradition is that we actually celebrate Thanksgiving the day after Thanksgiving, because one of my aunt's son is a general manager of a restaurant, and they work on Thanksgiving. So we always just let him work on Thanksgiving, and then we celebrate on Friday. So usually on Thanksgiving, I'm just like do 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 and waiting for the next day.
Nice.
Oh.
We my wife is an incredible cook, and it was funny because I grew up in Connecticut, and I wouldn't usually go home while I was doing Boy Meets World. I wouldn't go home for Thanksgiving, so Thanksgiving wasn't a big thing to me from the time I was 16 to 27, 28. But then when I got married or really started dating my wife, it became a whole big thing because she's big into Thanksgiving. So now we do all the turkey and the stuffing and everything. So my Thanksgiving tradition is now just having Thanksgiving every year, which is kind of cool.
Just after Thanksgiving.
yeah.
That's cool.
At our house, my wife makes a bacon wrapped sage butter turkey that is unbelievable. It's like her specialty. She does.
Nice.
She like makes sage butter and like tucks it under the turkey's skin.
Yeah, gets it crispy.
And then
gets it crispy.
the whole turkey is wrapped in bacon. Delicious.
Oh my gosh.
Everything's
Coming
better
over.
with bacon.
Both Will and Ryder's wives are incredible cooks. I once went over to Ryder's house for a Friendsgiving.
And she made that. I'm sure that's what she made.
I mean, every single thing she made was amazing. And
yes.
Sue is also an incredible baker. Will's wife is an incredible baker. And living a few steps from them, I really benefit. I really benefit from them because she drops things she's testing off. And I'm a happy eater.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
love in the text everybody's saying they're hungry. I am so hungry right now.
I'm hungry too.
Oh my God, I did not eat dinner before
I
we
know,
started.
it was making me
Now this conversation is just driving me crazy.
I've been trying for years now to get Sue to agree to second Thanksgiving, like middle of the summer, do a straight up full Thanksgiving dinner, bring people over. And she's like, Thanksgiving happens in November. She's very stern, my wife. So
You're dating Phoebe?
I love you like that. By the way, this is my Mr. Feeney. Did everybody see my Mr. Feeney who sits next to me? There you go.
That's cute.
My Mr. Feeney.
Wow.
Yeah. You like that? I got it at a con. Somebody gave it to me at a convention. There you
It's
go.
crocheted, and I love
It's
it.
a crocheted Mr. Feeney doll. Mr. Matthews. Mr. Matthews. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So, Will, during the episode, I couldn't quite catch what you said. It was like a Dr. Papson you had still.
Yes. So
on
Mark,
the set?
Mark Papson was our prop guy. And when you're
Okay.
doing a television show, especially in the 90s, it might have changed now with some advertising, but you were not allowed to use any logos. So you did something which is called Greeking out the logos, where it's like you would have a Coke, but you couldn't show a Coke, so they'd cover the K and the E, so you drink a Co. So our prop
version
guy
of
didn't
Dr.
like
Pepper.
that.
Right.
Yeah, so so he would make Dr. Papson, which was Dr. Pepper. He actually signed
my
it for me,
gosh.
Mark Papson, and we'd have all those
kept
kind of weird
everything.
things.
Yeah, so it wasn't really a rule.
In
What
my
it was
office.
is the fear was that later your show would get picked up in syndication on a station that would have a competitor advertising.
Is
So,
that
like,
what it is?
yeah.
Is that
So it was not like a rule. It was a smart thing to do
Oh.
when you're creating the show, because like, let's say Coke wants to run ads when you're airing again 10 years later. If you had, Pepsi on your show, you would be locked in. And then later, like after us, it became actually like part of they would just implant stuff in shows. But back in the 90s, they always, if you notice, it's always fake versions of everything because they were afraid in syndication they wouldn't get deals. Yeah.
Okay.
Do
Yeah,
any
I
of
know
you
that.
guys, other than Will, who obviously took several things, no, I'm kidding. But do any of you guys have any other props or wardrobe or memorabilia from the show?
I don't.
You didn't take anything, Danielle?
No.
Really? Clothes? Anything?
I took some clothes, but I don't still have them now.
Did we all get those jackets or something?
Well, I have the cast and crew gifts. Like I have the Boy Meets World fanny pack, and I have the cast jacket and the T-shirts. Like I have all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't have like something that I took from the set.
I wanted to take those Pembroke sweatshirts for so bad, but I just never had the guts to do it.
Yeah. Kitty Ryder took a painting, for God's sakes.
I took a painting. It's hanging in my hallway right now. I took the Robert Nighthawk painting. As I remember
that.
And that was the night. Yeah, that was our final taping. I just threw it in my girlfriend's truck. Danielle, you were there. I was there. I'm taking that painting. And then I also took the leather jacket, and then it got stolen in Brooklyn.
Oh no!
Yeah, I moved to New York and I lived in Brooklyn. My car got broken into, and they stole.
They didn't even know whose jacket they was taking. Oh my goodness! They could have sold it for so much more.
Oh my god! And I can't remember the brand.
Yeah. She's going to the Sabrina taping.
I will use this time while Danielle has stepped away. We do have
to talk about her. To talk
about her. Ask us really juicy.
What do you really think of Danielle?
But what I will say is, if people would like to continue to chat afterwards, there are to the left of your screen, so you can interact. Everyone who has been part of this. There it is.
Oh, she went to get it.
That's
nice.
That's old school. Oh my god, I wish I had kept that.
You don't have yours? Really?
My parents.
I started to realize that like you could, like maybe a little logo is better than Danielle's giant like Boy Meets World on the thing. Like so, they started to give us more like these. Yeah. So yeah,
hilarious.
That is awesome.
I don't have that one.
That's heavy. That one's heavy.
So as we wrap up and move into the holiday season, again, thank you guys and thank everyone who has tuned in today. One final question for you guys. Do you feel the Boy Meets World, Girl Meets World story is now complete, or is there more to tell?
I think it's complete.
Honestly, I want to see a show where like we're all adults, but like friends. Like we live next door or something, and like our adult problems, but we're still being our kid selves to each other because we've known each other so long. So that I'd like to see an adult continuation. I think that'd be really fun.
Trina, what do you think Angela would be like now?
I think I'd be kind of like more confident and like I've seen the world now, and thinking I know things, and then you guys would probably tell me what I don't know because me for so long, that kind of thing. I think we just do what we did, but just grown.
I love that. I love that. Ryder, Will, thoughts?
I feel like the story was satisfied with Girl Meets World. Like I don't know. I don't see a version. I don't know. Maybe if there was like a movie to sort of like bring us all back for some finale or whatever, but I don't think you continue the same story with the exact same structure. Nah.
Here's what frustrates me a little bit about what we did with Girl Meets World. Girl Meets World, I was under the impression when we started Girl Meets World that Girl Meets World was going to be a show about the kids. It was going to be the next generation's Boy Meets World, and just the catalyst for getting some eyes onto it, the hook, if you will, of the show was that the kids were going to be the offspring of Corey and Topanga and their friends. Yep. And that basically Corey and Topanga were going to be side characters, very small kind of side characters. It'd be a little hook to get people to watch, but the show was going to be about the kids. But what happens when you get people who, in charge, who want to relive past years and, want to, whatever the case may be, you start to forget that it was supposed to be about the kids. And you start to say, well, let's do a little bit of what Trina's talking about and what Danielle's talking about. And then you end up with something that doesn't really necessarily know what it is. And so I think there is the potential for there to be a great sequel, if you will, if it was what Trina's saying, if it isn't about the kids at all, if maybe it were just adults and we didn't have to, it wasn't about a kid storyline, or there could be a great show with a kid storylines. What are Eric's kids doing? Does Eric have kids? Are Eric and Sean still friends? Like
Eric doesn't know where his
Forget them kids. Forget them kids.
So, I think the potential is there. I just think, it was the show Trina's talking about was not Girl Meets World. And so, it could be done. It just needs to be done in a really smart way.
I love that.
I think you could do either Danielle or Ryder's thing. I think what might be interesting, because we could easily do an adult Boy Meets World. I mean, we really could. It would be like a Friends. I mean, it really would be that kind of, all of us in our 40s, 30s, 40s. What are we doing now? That's easy. I think what Ryder said is true too. We could do a great kind of Disney Plus movie, where we go and do a 90-minute, what are they doing now kind of thing. Could be interesting as well. So I think there's a number of ways to take it. That being said, if we never do anything with it again, I can look back at what we've done and be very, very happy and enjoy that everybody,
Definitely.
what everybody is taken from the show and how people are being raised with the show. But if we do more, the characters are fun to play. If we don't, I'm really happy with what we've put out there. So
I think everybody is really happy. I mean, it's such an epic show. It's such a part of, our culture, growing up, and now to see you guys here. And this was such a special moment. So thank you again for joining, everybody. And thank you guys at home for tuning in. As I said before, continue the conversation amongst yourself. And we also got all your requests for Mr. Feeney. So we'll see what we could do about that for next time.
Heck yeah.
Exactly.
Let's get Bill out here.
Yep. And until then,
nice.
Thank you guys. And
thank you, Claire. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Claire. You're the best.
Great.
So good to see you guys.
Nice
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.